Hi there, I'm Chef Anthony Serrano, and welcome to our live cooking class sponsored by Ball Park Buns in partnership with She Speaks. Today, I'm going to be teaching you how to spice up your Ball Park buns using Takis with two amazing recipes. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll be making a spicy chicken sandwich. Just check out how beautiful this is. Using our Ball Park hamburger buns and a cheesesteak made with Ball Park hot dog buns. Doesn't that look awesome? And we spice both of these recipes up with our Takis. So we're going to be live on the She Speaks and Chef Anthony Facebook page. So don't worry if you miss a step. We'll be dropping all the ingredients and the recipes in the comments so you can easily shop for them at Walmart. Please be sure to like, share, and comment on this live feed because we're going to be giving away 3 $25 gift cards to lucky viewers. So let's start off by commenting. Let us know what you're doing, where you're watching from, and let's get cooking. First up, we're going to be doing that cheesesteak I told you about. So it's super, super yummy. As you can see, it's got a lot of great texture, a lot of fun colors, flavors. I find the kids love that. So we're going to put that right there. To start off with our cheesesteak, we use our little grill here. I start off with a nice heavy-duty pan that has a little bit of oil in it. So you can use pretty much any sort of oil you want for it. I have a little technical difficulty here. So we start off with a nice hot pan. I just use a little bit of canola oil, but you can use vegetable oil, avocado oil. Any oil with a high smoke point is perfectly fine. So you want to get that oil nice and hot. And what we're going to start off doing is to make this cheesesteak really tasty and yummy is we have some really, really thinly sliced onions. So we're going to put that in, get a little bit of that sizzle going on. We'll give it a few seconds to move around. Like I said, we want to start caramelizing those onions. That's going to give us a lot of great flavor that's going to go amazing with our Ball Park buns. So you can hear you got the sizzle going on. It's going to add a lot of great flavor to it. And then once it has a little bit of caramelization, what I'm going to do is add some thinly sliced ribeye steak. I like using the ribeye steak because a ribeye has a little bit more fat content than like a filet mignon or a strip steak. And that fat is actually going to go really, really well with our cheesesteak. And it's going to pair beautifully with those Ball Park buns. So we're starting to get that nice sizzle. As you can see, it's looking great. Once it does a few more moments, I'll add in those ribeye steaks. Now, here's a little tip for you. You really want to get those ribeye steak nice and thin. So what I always do is I freeze the ribeye steak for half an hour, 45 minutes. And what that's going to do is it's going to firm up that steak. Then I get a really, really sharp knife and I thinly slice the steak. I normally cut it into quarters, the one ribeye, and then I thinly slice it so that you get those nice little pieces just like that aren't too big, but nice and thin and full of flavor. And when you're doing that, you want to make sure that you hold the knife right. Just because a knife is a sharp utensil, right? And you want to make sure that you're holding it right so you don't cut yourself and you have a lot of control. So when you're holding a knife, you want to make sure that you grab it like that. I know a lot of people like holding their knife like that, but you really want to make sure you grab it like that. It gives you a lot better control when you're cutting the knife. So we're starting to get some nice color here. Oh, it's looking good. It's starting to smell beautiful. And we just have onions going on there. So I'm going to throw in our I'm going to throw in our thinly sliced ribeye steak. It's got that nice sizzle. You can hear it. It's already starting to smell amazing. I'm going to put that in there. And again, for those of you that are just joining us, I'm Chef Anthony Serrano, and we're live on the She Speaks and Chef Anthony Serrano Facebook page. We're cooking up 2 amazing recipes using Ball Park hamburger buns and Ball Park hot dog buns that we're spicing up with Takis. So we want to get the pan nice and hot. So it's already starting to sizzle. It's starting to get nice and warm. So at this point, I really want to make sure that I get that nice caramelization on both sides of the meat. because you don't want to keep turning it. You want to leave it there for a few minutes so it gets that nice sear on both sides. That's going to add a lot of nice flavor. So to season it, I add salt. You always want to make sure you add a little bit of salt to your food, just like that. Then a little bit of ground pepper. Get that beautiful pepper in there. And I like adding just a little bit of taco seasoning. That's going to help us give some great flavors to it and build that spiciness. All right, just like that. Starting to smell great, but we're not done. So we're getting a nice sear. We're going to move it around now. Now it's almost time. We're starting to get nice color on this steak. Let me show you. So you want to make sure that you get a little bit darker than that on your steak before you turn it. Your onions are a little small here because I cut them pretty small, so I can't really bring those up to show you. But you really want to get that nice sear on your steak. That's building all those great flavors, and it's going to help this dish taste amazing. Well, since it's almost done, I'm going to show you the next step. So we have our beautiful Takis here, right? Nice, beautiful. We need to add them to our dish, right? So what I do is I put them inside of my food processor and I turn them into beautiful Takis dust, just like that. That's going to give us the base for our great flavor, and it's going to make an amazing cheesesteak. So I get a little bit of that Takis, throw that in there just like that. It's going to add some amazing flavor to this sandwich, or to this cheesesteak. Turn it like that. All right, this cheesesteak is almost done. Now, you don't want to overcook this meat. It's a ribeye. It can withstand a little bit more heat, but you don't want to dry it out. You want a nice, tasty, full of flavor cheesesteak. So once you have a nice caramelization on all sides of the meat, smelling amazing, we're almost ready for the next step. So let me know in the comments where you're from, if you got any questions. Love answering all those great questions everyone always has. Okay, it's almost done. You can see, I like doing my cheesesteak a little on the rare side. I got a question, does grinding the salt make a big difference, or can you use table salt? That's a great question. I've used both. I like grinding the salt. It's since salt isn't like an herb or another type of seasoning that you want to do fresh. But salt, I feel like you can get a little bit better control. And depending on the dish that you're making, sometimes you want a little bit coarser salt than other times. So our cheesesteak is almost good. Look at that. And if you don't like onions, you don't have to put the onions in. You can always add a different type of veggie into the onions, or another veggie into the cheesesteak. But I feel like the onions really go with the cheesesteak, but you could always add some bell peppers to it. So now what I'm doing is I'm adding some American cheese. You can use cheddar, Swiss, whatever type of cheese you like. And we're just going to let that residual heat in here, let it melt on top of our cheesesteak. Got another question. Do you notice a difference in texture of Takis in the food processor versus smashing them? Yes, I do. And that's another great question. So when I'm cooking like this, I want to make sure that I have consistency. Consistency is the key when you're cooking. So when you're slicing the steak, you want to make sure it's consistent. Same with when you're making our Takis powder. And the reason I use the food processor is it's going to give me a nice, even consistency. But you want to make sure that you don't go crazy and leave the food processor on for an hour, because what's going to happen is it's going to start mushing it up and it's going to turn into Takis mashed potatoes. So you just want to put in the food processor just until it's nice and powdery, just like that, and it's great. If you want it a little bit crunchier Takis, you can definitely leave it in bigger pieces, but I like that smooth consistency. So this looks like it is almost ready. I'm going to take it off our grill, and then we're going to build our Takis. So what we're going to do is, this is super, super easy and super tasty. So I have my Ball Park buns here. Then I'm going to just scoop up that beautiful cheesesteak. Just look at that. So amazing. Remember, if you got any more questions, just drop them in the comments. I love answering questions. Gonna build 3 of these for lunch later. Really excited. Like I said, you want to make sure that you get a nice caramelization. That's what's going to make this cheesesteak just taste amazing. I love using these Ball Park buns. They have a nice amount of like butteriness to them that really, really, in my mind, completes this dish. And all this cheese on there. It's actually turned out really, really good. It smells amazing. I wish we had a smell-o-vision plug-in for this app because this is like smelling amazing. As you can see, we have our nice, beautiful Takis. So great. We got a winner on our giveaway. Make sure that you're liking, commenting, sharing this for more chances to win. So we have our Takis. As you can see, it turned out beautiful. Love it. I'm gonna move it to the side. Oh, wait, I forgot. You gotta garnish it. So what I like doing is I like adding a little bit more Takis dust to the top of it, just like that. Oh yeah, this is beautiful. All right, see, look, turned out amazing, full of great flavor. It's got that like little bit of a crunch to it that I feel like is just perfect in this dish. It's not too overpowering, but it's just enough. I got a little Takis powder all over my hands. So that's perfect. So next up, we're gonna be making our chicken. So this chicken is really fun. It's got a lot of great flavors. And what I do is I normally deep fry it. So I'm not going to deep fry it here. I'm just going to teach you a quick way to do it. So what you want to do is you can either make a deep fryer out of a heavy duty, thick pot like this, and you want to fill up your oil about halfway. And that's for safety because when you're dropping in your chicken, it might splash all over, safety hazard, all that stuff that safety first, right? And then I use a thermometer. And this is like this is a candy or frying thermometer. And what that's going to tell us is when that oil has reached 350 degrees. Now you want to use a frying oil, like a canola oil, vegetable oil, peanut oil works great. You don't want to use olive oil for this because that is the smoke point for olive oil is a lot lower, which just means that it's going to give it a weird taste to all the food that you deep fry in here. So you want to make sure you use an oil that's for frying. You put it over your heat and you cook it until the chicken reaches an internal temperature of 165. Now, if you don't want to use a big pot like this, you could also pan fry it. You want to make sure that you use a little bit of oil in the pan, just enough to coat half the chicken, and then you're good to go. I got a question, can you make this recipe in an air fryer? And the answer is sure, why not? I would probably fry it. I feel like that gives it a little better flavor, but using an air fryer works as well. And then when you get your chicken out, you want to make sure that you I wouldn't drop it in. I'd use a utensil like this, and you just gently want to immerse it in the oil, release it, and let it go just like that. And same when you're taking it out of that hot oil. Normally it doesn't take too long. You're talking about 3-4 minutes on each side. And I'm going to show you how we make this because it's really, really simple. So we start off with chicken. Now you can get the normal chicken breasts, cut it in half and pound it out. But what I find is super easy is just getting the chicken that is already cut in half for you and a thin cut of chicken. So that's going to make it so much easier. You don't have to worry about pounding it out. But if you want to go that route, you can totally do that. All you do is you cut the chicken. You can use a mallet, a rolling pin, and you want to flatten out that chicken so it's not so thick. And that's going to help us again with that consistency so that it all cooks at the same time. I always buy the cutlets. Some people are commenting. Yeah, exactly. You can use that as well. That'll work really, really great. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the standard breading procedure. So in chef talk, that means we're going to start off with flour. Then we're going to dip it in egg. And finally, some more of that beautiful Takis powder. So we have that just like this. It's going to go perfect. So what you want to do is whenever you're breading anything, it doesn't matter what type of meat it is. You can be doing mozzarella sticks, whatever you're breading. You always start off with the flour. You got the flour. And you want to make sure that you coat your, in this case, chicken. And like I said, we have the chicken is about this size, not too big because it's going to fit perfectly on our hamburger bun. And you want to shake off that residual flour. We don't want to leave too much of it on there because then it's going to add a lot of clumpiness to our egg. So once we've done that, we move it over to our egg wash. And all this is some eggs. You could use a pork cutlet. That's one of the questions we have on screen. Then we put it in our egg wash, give it a little shake just like that, get that residual egg off there. And then finally, we put it in our Takis powder or our Takis dust. So just like this, we want to make sure that we coat that beautiful Takis just like that. Perfect. And please, if you got any questions at all, drop them in the comments. Love hearing questions. Make sure to like, comment, share this for a chance to win one of our 3 $25 gift cards. Perfect. And if you're missing any steps, just remember we're putting the recipe in the comments as well. Is there a way to get a non-fatty piece of chicken breast? So that's another step that I do when I'm cutting the chicken and prepping it, is I make sure to trim off those little pieces of fat. So look at this, we're almost done. So we want to make sure that that chicken breast is completely coated. We want to make sure that we don't miss any parts and it's completely coated. Then what we're going to do is we jump back to our fryer that I showed you how to use earlier, and you deep fry it 3-4 minutes on each side until it gets to 165 degrees. Yes, you can definitely use the panko or another sort of breading instead of the Takis powder. That definitely would work perfectly. If you're doing any sort of low carb thing, you can always add in crumbled pork rinds instead of the Takis, but I feel like the Takis give it a really, really great flavor. Would you suggest a good pairing for this chicken meal? I'd go with the classics, a coleslaw, potato salad, something fun like that. So after grilling it, after putting it in the deep fryer, our chicken breast looks like this. It's got a nice crunch to it. Can't really hear it, but you can sort of see it. It looks perfect. It's got a little bit of browning. It cooked completely through. We said you want to make sure that that oil is not too hot and not too cold, so that 350 degrees is what you're aiming for. Exactly. This chicken is perfect for Halloween fun. I hadn't thought about that, but I like that. So in order to build our burger, we start off with our Ball Park hamburger buns. Got those right there. And what I like adding is a little bit of a chipotle mayo. I just get a little bit of the chipotle powder or chipotle sauce, add a little bit of mayonnaise to it. Or you can just go with regular mayo. And what I do is I just make sure to smear that on both sides of our hamburger bun. These Ball Park hamburger buns are awesome. They pair really well with it. I think they're buttery, they're airy, so it goes really, really well with our Takis crusted chicken breast. Plus all this spiciness is always good. How long do you cook the chicken for? Now, that's one of those questions I get asked all the time, and the answer is until it's done. So if your fryer is about 350 degrees, you want to cook that chicken until it's an internal of 165. So what I normally do is I look at the chicken. Once it's looking nice and beautiful and crispy, starting to get a little bit of that browning to both sides, I take it out, I get my instant thermometer, and I put it in there. You could always cut the chicken open and see if it looks like it's done, but when I'm dealing with chicken, I like to make sure it's done, so I use that thermometer. And the reason, again, I say it because it really depends on how long, is because if your chicken breast is a little bit thicker than mine, it's going to take a little bit longer to cook. But as a good rule, I'd say about 2 to 3 minutes on each side inside the fryer. How can we tone it down for the kids? You could always use a different type of breading for it, or you can mix the Takis with the panko, which is just regular breadcrumb, and that'll tone it down quite a bit too. But I feel like it's not too spicy. My kids like it. So we start off with our hamburger bun, and now we're building our Takis chicken sandwich. So I just put some pickles down as our base for it. If you've got any questions, just let me know in the comments. And you can use some onions, some other sort of lettuce for this burger. But I find the pickles, you have that little bit of vinegar, that acidity, really complements the fattiness of the chicken sandwich. But if I were to make this chicken sandwich again, I definitely add probably some cheddar cheese or some American cheese to the top of it. And just like that, we have our beautiful chicken sandwich. So pretty easy. I love a buttered grilled bun. And that normally, that's what I love doing too. For the hamburger bun or the hot dog bun, I normally just put a little bit of butter on it and then I grill it. For simplicity's sake though, I was trying to just make this a little bit quicker. But if you have some extra time, grilling it in a non-stick pan works beautifully. You put it inside of your pan with a little bit of butter. You want to start browning that butter. Then you put your hamburger bun or your hot dog bun on there and you grill it just a little bit. So if you got any other questions, let me know. This was totally easy. And as you can see, it was really, really quick to make these two dishes. So definitely let me know some comments. Let me know if you had a good time. If you have any other questions. And don't forget, we have the recipe is going to be in the comments, along with the links to buy all of these ingredients at your local Walmart, which convenient, right? Now, if you're also wondering what else you could do, I have a question. Do you have any vegetarian recipes? Well, you could always add in like a tofu or an eggplant, bread it with your Takis, and deep fry it that way. That would turn out super yummy. And if you're looking for another recipe, we'll actually be dropping that one in the comments. So we have this great recipe for a Takis grilled cheese using our Ball Park hamburger buns. That's just amazing. It's super, super simple. It has cream cheese, some herbs, some pepper jack cheese. You fold that all together. Then you get your Ball Park hamburger buns. You get a little bit of butter, toast it all up, and you make your grilled cheese on. Thank you for joining me today. And a very special thank you to Ball Park Buns at Walmart for sponsoring this live. It was a lot of fun. I hope you had fun. Hope you learned some fun recipes like our cheese steak and our spicy chicken sandwich, because these spicy chicken sandwiches are all the rave and you can make it at home so easy with those Ball Park buns. So remember to get out there, have some fun, create delicious recipes using Ball Park buns and Takis. And until next time, stay safe, stay strong, and keep on cooking.